Good morning. This is a wonderful Friday, 13th Friday. Tomorrow is Valentine's. Karibuni sana. I'm going to do a quick question so that we can continue to our to learning about eTIMS. I can hear you. Kindly tell me where you're watching the webinar from, and you can share the webinar to somebody. Tell them that we are on. We are on. Karibuni sana. Just tell me where you're watching the webinar from. Karibuni sana. Just a quick question and then we proceed. Nairobi. Nataka kuona watu wa diaspora, Mombasa, outside Kenya. Karibuni sana, karibuni sana, karibuni. Nairobi, I can see. Thank you so much. Kisumu, Sheila, thank you, thank you. Malindi. Today I'm in Rufiji, Tanzania. Phoebe, salimiana huko sana. Chuka, thank you, thank you, thank you. Roy, Margaret, asanteni sana, sana. Thank you for always coming to learn. I'm hoping we are making better decisions for our businesses. Isiolo, thank you. I'm hoping we are making better decisions because we have been learning. The final question I want to ask, is it your first time? Kadonzweni. And Stacy Lamu, thank you for answering. Good morning from Kampala. By the way, I'm live on my TikTok. So you can also share, if somebody is having a hectic, being able to join the Teams call, they can move to my live TikTok. Mombasa, yes, and Moyale. Thank you, John. I'm hoping Moyale, come on, Nairobi, it's this hot. How is Moyale? So I wanted to ask, is it your first time to hear about me? Is it your first time to come and learn from us? Yes, Clinton, karibu sana. I'd want to see a yes. I want to see a yes if this is your first time, so that I give you a very warm welcome. Karibu sana. For the people who are saying a yes, karibu sana. Martin, oh my goodness. I can see yeses. Where have you been? You've been doing this for ages. Since 2018, I've been training on tax. And since 2020, when COVID came, we started doing online webinars. We do 3 webinars in a month. We do a tax trends that I did last week on Friday. We do this, which I train on a topic, and we do a sector-based tax training, which will be happening next week on Friday. That one will be training on taxation of real estate businesses. So if you have a real estate business, you can come and learn. We'll talk about all the taxes in that sector. So we have the 3 trainings. They are free of charge. You learn. Why do we do this? We do this so that you can understand taxes and be able to make better decisions. By the way, when I started being a tax advisor, I realized that most of the mistakes we do in taxation were mistakes that can be avoided. Why? How can we avoid them? The moment you understand tax. So most of the things that we do in our companies that make us to have a lot of tax assessment are areas that we could have avoided if only we understood tax. And I felt it was important to just make people aware about taxes and learn. And we've been able to have you come in numbers. I guess in a month. In a month, all our trainings, we are able to train over 1,000 people. And I'm so proud of that because I believe that we are making changes when we come to taxation and how we do business. We also have paid versions. We have a taxation masterclass where now you come and learn. That one you have to pay and you learn in a very deeper manner or taxes. I'm going to share about the taxation masterclass at the end of the training today. So we're going to learn about eTIMS. Are you ready? And today I'm going to even do some practicals. So be ready for some practicals. If you're going to have your PIN and your password, I don't know if you have time for that, but you walk through you're going to walk to see how I navigate through eTIMS. The other portion is that you always ask, can I have the notes? Can I have the notes? Can I have the notes? I'll tell you how you can have the notes. So just hold so that we can just train it. We can start the training. Karibuni sana, sana, sana. It's a warm Friday. And I thank God for giving us this opportunity to learn. So I hope you can see my screen. So if you can be able to see my screen, you can tell me. Watu online tu ndio that is the only portion that you miss. Next time you're going, I'm not at TikTok tech. I'm just learning. You're going to tell me how I can be able to project the notes at TikTok. I wananisikia tu nikiongea, but when you come online, you can be able to see the notes. So next time you're going to teach me how to do that. So I'm hoping you can be able to see navigating eTIMS, the new tax reality. That's what we are talking about. Remember, we are having the eTIMS validation, and I'm going to also mention about some validation. So it is now mandatory that all businesses in Kenya should have an eTIMS machine. And the moment you have your eTIMS, you should operate your sales with eTIMS, get your purchases eTIMS compliant, and your expenses. So the whole entire business should run under eTIMS. Remember also, if you ask for a tax compliance, you have to have eTIMS. So eTIMS now for business is what is a reality that you're having right now. So I want to show you how you're going to navigate eTIMS in your business. So I'm going to show you an eTIMS overview, transaction exempted from eTIMS, eTIMS solutions. There are so many procedures for eTIMS sign up, procedures for eTIMS registration and setup, basic navigation, emerging issues on eTIMS, buyer-initiated invoicing. You keep asking that one. I'll still demo. And then common mistakes in using eTIMS. So we have a lot to cover, a lot. So just be here. And let's start. If you have a question, you can ask on the chat. I'll answer the questions as we move on. So number one, let's talk about eTIMS and what are the expenses that are excluded from eTIMS. So eTIMS is an electronic tax invoice management system. It's a software solution that provides taxpayers with option for simple, convenience, and flexible approach to electronic invoicing. It's just helping you do an invoice. eTIMS is like a point of sale, actually, where you can just key in. I'm going to show you how it operates. You key in your items, you manage your stocks, you sell with it. So it's just a system for invoicing. But also the moment you use it, KRA gets to see the business that you're doing. So it is giving KRA visibility of your business. How are you doing your sales, the purchases you're having, the expenses you're having? It is giving them that visibility, of course, because of tax reasons. What business expenses are excluded from eTIMS? We talk about emoluments. These are salaries and wages. So the moment you pay as you earn, those salaries, they're exempted from eTIMS. But remember, during validation process, KRA is going to look at the pay as you earn sheets, the monthly sheets, to make sure that they can be able to validate that data. We also have wages. And I always recommend, if you have people that you're paying, that they've been consistent with you in the organization, even if they are below the threshold, just have them on the payroll. It will help you when validation process is done. It is become simpler and simpler. And also I mentioned the other time when I was training about the emerging issues, if you declared wages last year and you did not pay housing levy, remember, some of these wages, you're paying somebody 10,000, 15, they are below the threshold. That's okay, they don't pay as you earn. But the other taxes, levies, like affordable housing levy, they are supposed to be paying. So the moment you declare wages, and you can tell me on the chat if you have received that such a letter, KRA is asking you for payroll, employee contract, and those items on to just see your salaries. If you received that letter, what are they looking for? They are looking for affordable housing levy because you have declared your wages. So if you have wages, those 10,000, 15,000, make sure that at the end of the month, you do the 1.5% and you match 1.5% with the employer. How do you do this? Some companies, what they do, when they are paying on Saturday, they tell these people, we are going to deduct this money because we are supposed to pay affordable housing levy. So there are some companies who do that and they just pay. Imports, if your imports are exempted or are excluded from eTIMS, but also remember, for imports, we also have a KRA system that is able to capture. So today, if you import, you're supposed to find your imports on your VAT return. When you're doing your VAT return, it will be there because you gave your PIN. You gave your PIN there. Not unless you imported through consolidation, and sometimes consolidation becomes very, you lose on taxes if you go that route. But that's another day. If you're doing imports, you can talk to me. Air passenger ticketing is also exempted. Exempted. Investment allowances, interest, especially interest to the bank and other institutions, fees charged by financial institutions, bank charges, and those charges exempt. We also have expenses subjected to withholding tax, that is final tax. I guess there's something that is supposed to be down here. Let me check it. So some of these, KRA stated that they are going to give us a sheet, that in that sheet, we can be able to incorporate some of these items. So the moment we incorporate these items there, they can be able to verify. How do they verify interest? They can verify interest through your bankings. They can verify charges through your banking, so a bank statement. In case, mostly some of these fees are very, very minimal, but in case it is something that is very, very huge, KRA can go to that extent of verifying. So let's go to the eTIMS solutions. Let's go to the eTIMS solutions. And I'm going to share a few eTIMS solutions, and you're going to tell me which one you're using. So we have the mobile, the USSD, the mobile phone based. It is *222#. This one does not require any internet. You just pick your phone, you do a simple registration. You can be able to do an invoice and share that code link, and you can actually even download the receipt or that invoice. So it is very, very easy. This was incorporated for people who said, oh, we are not tax savvy, or we don't know this. So USSD code works very well. We have eTIMS Lite. This is web-based. It is simplified, especially for small businesses, minimal transaction and individuals. So you're going to find it. We also have a web-based, it is under eCitizen. We also have eTIMS portal, eTIMS solution that is designed for business sector. So for example, consultant salon. So we have eTIMS portal. When you go to iTax portal, we also have eTIMS portal that you can also be able to do this. So we have eTIMS client. eTIMS client, it is installed on your laptop, on your desktop. So you can be able to have eTIMS client. This is mostly what we recommend people when they are coming to eTIMS. It is free of charge. And also we also have eTIMS client that you buy the machine. The machine that you buy, it's eTIMS compliant. It is eTIMS client. The one we buy 25K, 30K, depending on the nature of the machine. It has the eTIMS client. Online sales control unit. So this is system to system integration. So if you're having your ERP, you can integrate it with eTIMS. Sometimes it comes with a bit of an expense, because they are registered companies that are supposed to do this integration. Then we have the virtual sales control unit. So integration I did for taxpayers, both online and offline. So the first one is that you're doing an ERP that is totally online. So you want your eTIMS also to be totally online throughout. The other one, virtual, can be online or you can be offline. So those are the areas. We also have eTIMS application, an app that you can be able to download. And so all these solutions are out there so that you can push yourself wherever possible. If you go to a cyber and tell somebody that I need an eTIMS invoice, even if you don't know how to generate one, the moment you give them their PIN and their password, they can help you generate a receipt, help you generate an invoice. If you just pick your phone, you can be able to do it. If you go to the portal, you can do it. You can download an application. You can go eTIMS client, install it on your laptop free of charge. So these are different solutions when it comes to eTIMS. So I wanted to train on the eTIMS registration before I move from there. I hope we understand what is the difference between eTIMS and TIMS. I'm going to share when I come to demonstrate eTIMS, how eTIMS works. So the onboarding, the procedure for eTIMS registration, you can do self and onboarding. You don't require a third party to actually do this. The onboarding process has become very, very simplified. Before we could take a document to KRA or they approve, but now you can be able to do it self-onboarding. So you just go to eTIMS taxpayers portal. I'm going to share these notes with you. So my co-host, you can share the link, and you don't give me the email on acha niseme hii vizuri. Don't write the email on the chat kindly. I can't hear anything, my God. When did I stop being heard? Slides not moving. So answer me. You can't hear me? Oh, I can hear you. Are my slides moving? Sorry. Thank you, thank you. So I wanted to share, I wanted to say, my co-host, you can do the link. There's a link, you have to write your email there. So don't write it on the chat, just on the link kindly. So that when we share, it becomes easy to just pull the emails and share. So I wanted to do the onboarding. Before I go to the onboarding, I want to ask a question. Which eTIMS are you using? So on the chat, I just need one Which eTIMS are you using? Okay, so I can see it in client. Sawa. Okay, that's okay. So let's do the onboarding process. I'll still come and ask a question. I'll still come and ask a question because we have a lot to share. Let me proceed first. So this is where you put your PIN. That at that particular point you put your PIN. Then you proceed. The PIN is going to verify when you put the PIN, your details are going to auto-populate automatically. Your name, everything about the company or about you, your name and everything. So after that, you're going to set up a password. And an OTP is going to be sent on the registered phone. So the registered phone that was registered there, you're going to be shared an OTP. And then after that, you're going to click the data privacy statement and you're going to sign up. So the sign up, yes, complete sign up process is done. So that as simple as what I've explained. So previously it was very technical, very hectic, but at the moment it is as simple as that. So you've been able to sign up. Let's proceed. So you can log into eTIMS, enter your PIN, and then log in to access your account. And then you can be able to ask for the service that you want. The service that you want is eTIMS. So we said that the OTP, an OTP is going to be shared to the phone that was registered there. And you're going to now pick the type. So the first we did a registration to just get a password. But now we want to choose the eTIMS, that type that you'd want. So we have if you look down there where I put the arrows, the black one, there's eTIMS client, we have the online, we have the virtual, we have the online. So we're going to use the eTIMS client, but for the online, you can just choose and proceed. So the online is the eTIMS portal, where you just go to eTIMS and create just one invoice. But for eTIMS client, you have to, I'll show you how to operate eTIMS client. For the other ones that need integration, you have to look for the companies that do integration. The moment when they'll be doing integration, they're going to choose either of the others. So at this point, we are choosing the eTIMS client. I hope you can be able to follow. So for the eTIMS client, we have these different formats. So the device model, you have to put it there. Your device serial number, especially if you're buying the device model, the machines, that a small machine we buy, you have to put the serial number there. And the device mobile name, it has to be there. And you have to choose, if you're doing a laptop also, you also have to put all those details, device serial number for the laptop and the device model. Then you choose down here, eTIMS Windows. Which Windows are you using on the tablet, on the line there? So some of these things, sometimes you might need a bit of help if you're not really conversant, and you have to choose it properly. Then a text message will be sent on the registered mobile phone on ITAS confirming that you have registered successfully. So tumeregister eTIMS sasa. Can we proceed and make some sales? So navigating eTIMS client, we particularly chose eTIMS client to be able to demonstrate eTIMS. So upon successful eTIMS application, this is how eTIMS clients look like. You put the PIN and the password. So this is how eTIMS has these items. And this is the reason why we said it is a point of sale. It is a software. It is helping you do invoicing. It has all these modules: item management, customer management, sales management, purchases, import, and stocks management. Totally managing all your business, how your business is working. And this is the difference between TIMS and eTIMS. For TIMS, you just key in the amount that it operates the way ETR was operating. You put your 50,000, then you say 16%, and eTIMS, a receipt is provided without keying items or without even understanding who is the customer or anything. But this one, you have to key in all this data for you to be able to generate that invoice. And this is where for SMEs and people who are doing business, sometimes they tell me, ni kama sio watu wazee, especially if you're having people who are a bit elderly, and now they will have to use eTIMS in our career gumu because of now this space that is here. The previous one was easy. You just write a simple invoice or a receipt. Let's talk about a receipt. Someone comes to buy 30,000, just write 30,000 what they bought. You go to the machine, do 30,000, then 16%, then unatoa tu receipt, simple and clear, and you just attach. But this one, you have to add items, you have to understand the customer who is buying, put their PIN, you have to do stocks and so many other things. So it becomes a bit complex, and especially for people who are having a lot of items. You can imagine if you're having 1,000 items that you're selling, now becomes a headache. But I want to show you how to navigate in a very, very simple way. To mention that the stock management that you can see down here, it is very, very crucial. At the moment, right now, KRA is conducting eTIMS validation of our expenses, and I'm going to mention at the tail end what it means. But it means that we are going to look at our expenses. At the moment, we have our sales and our purchases on eTIMS. Remember, when the data auto-populates, you cannot add a purchase. I hope hapo tuko. You can add a sale, but you cannot add a purchase. So the purchases that you do on a monthly basis, these are people who are doing VAT. The ones that you can do on a monthly basis, KRA says you cannot be having other purchases than those ones. So we have sales on our eTIMS portal or in our purchases, both of them, and we have done VAT. Now they want to check our expenses to make sure that they are eTIMS compliant. The next audit for year 2027, when because 2026, we are going to make sure that all our expenses are on eTIMS. The next one for 2027, they will just now look at how you are operating the eTIMS. And their keen interest will be on the stock management that is there. So most of us we buy items from our customers. And this one is ijaandika mahali, so note it because it is very crucial. That is where we are heading. You buy items through eTIMS. Actually, if you give your PIN to your supplier, you're supposed to find those items on eTIMS direct. So when the supplier writes that I bought these 50 items, I'm supposed to come back here. On my purchases management, I'm going to show you and accept. Automatically, they are supposed to come to my eTIMS system. And I accept. The moment I accept that purchase without feeding it, the moment I give the supplier the PIN, I'm supposed to find it on my eTIMS. The moment I accept, it goes to my stock. And then when it comes to my stock, I start selling one item by another. So when I'm selling, For instance, now a customer comes to buy, I have to specify what the customer is buying. And I'm hoping that's what we've been doing. You have to specify. So that 50,000, you have to specify that I bought. I like using a hardware because it's much easier. You have to specify that I bought 10 bags of cement, 3 bags of nails, 10 iron sheet. That you have to specify, and that is what we talk about stock management. So the next point that, and this is what we've been doing, we purchase and we make sure that all our suppliers, we push them to give us eTIMS. But when we come to selling, we don't sell to all people using eTIMS. But now with the stock management, under eTIMS, KRA can be able to know how much you purchased, and they compare with how much you sold and tell you, for this particular item, the data can show that you bought this item 50,000 bags or 10,000 bags. But on your sales, you sold 2,000 bags or 3,000 bags. You've not sold 7,000 bags. So you either tell us that you have these bags as your stocks, which we can come and verify, or you underdeclared. There is under declarations. So it is as efficient as that. So that is the essence of eTIMS. So after the validation process of our expenses, we are going deeper on how we are using eTIMS for our businesses. So let's navigate a bit. So we're going to add the items. We are going to start number 1, add items. And this becomes hectic if you're having a lot of items. Sometimes you need help. You need to do a stock take. After doing a stock take, now you feed them one by one. So we have an item here. So this is how provide information of item name, origin, item type, packing unit, quantity unit, price, purchase price, sales price, tax type, beginning stock, and expiry date, if applicable. So you can imagine this, it is having all that, and you can see type there, the item type is there, the batch number, the purchases price. Unawandikia mpaka purchases price na sales price so that they can even do your profit margin and to see how much you're making. Beginning stock, this is where I mentioned that when you purchase, the stock should even be there. After this we are adding items, but after now you do a subsequent purchase, the stock should come here. Like any other software, you're not supposed to sell something that is not on your stock. So that is how you put in the items one by one. And there is also item code. There are some things that are provided by KRA, like this one, item code, that you have to drop down and choose. There are some items you have to drop down and choose. And why is that? I think for their own analysis. So for instance, if you dropped down and all of you, and you chose this item, they can be able to do an analysis and say, Regina is selling at 150. This one is selling at 150, at 200. This one is at 300. The drop downs, you can see, they're helping them do a bit of data analysis. So the next one, we are going to do new to auto-generate the item code, then click save. So you're going to auto-generate. They have the items, the codes inside. So you're just doing the auto-generation, and then you save the item. And then you're going to repeat the process for all your items. This is the first time, so the first time might be hectic, but as you move on, it becomes simpler and simpler, because if you be having something new, just be adding it there. Can we add a customer? Let's add a customer. Remember our customer they are supposed to give us their PIN, so that when we are generating an invoice or a receipt, the system is able to capture automatically. So let's add a customer. So this is customer. There's the detail customers in the various fields. So we have the KRA PIN, their name, their bank account. If you're going to, they are going to send you the money with the bank account. Of course, there are some places which are not mandatory, so don't be worried. Email addresses, fax, everything. So you just pick, you can pick the mandatory places, especially the name and the PIN number. If you're selling to a customer who doesn't want to give you their PIN, you can still sell to. I'm going to show you. But for the ones that are saying, you have to give me, you have to write my PIN there, this is the process. So that is how you create a customer, and then you keep creating them every day. So if they are regular customers, you just make it easier to just be there. The details are there, you just select and just invoice them or share that receipt automatically. But if they are first timers, you can just put a PIN, their PIN, and just do a receipt without having to save them as a customer. So let's create an invoice. Let's create an invoice. So we have the sales management that is there. And then we come and create the new invoice, click yes or prompt. So you can create a new one. From the customer ID tab, select the customer you intend to invoice. So if you have customers, you can come here and draw down. You're going to see the customers. All your customers you can select. If they are not customer, you can put the customer name there. And item code, because you have the items already, you just be selecting very, very fast. On the item code field, search, intent to, okay. So you're going to have the customer ID there. So the customer name is already there. So sales date is there. The items are there. And then you can say confirm. You provide the quantity being supplied there, confirm. Remember, because of the stock management, you have to provide the stocks. So unit price is that, quantity is 10. Tax type 16%. You can see the red areas. The star areas is where you're supposed to fill in. So what the red star is the areas that you're supposed to fill in. So at the end of it all, before we approve. So this is the places, customer's ID or customer's PIN, their name, the sale date, the item code, classification, unit. Those are the areas that you're supposed to fill in. And remember, the customer is paying you like 100,000, and they are buying 10 items or they are buying 5 items. You have to do this for each and every item. And then you now build a receipt or an invoice that have all those 5 items. So the saved transaction should appear under the sales management tab with the status, wait for approval, select the saved transaction, then click the detail button, then approve, confirm by clicking. So for you come here and approve all the things that you have stated. Are they correct? So it gives you that chance to just walk through, look through, and just see, have I made a mistake? Remember, issuing a credit note, if you keep making a mistake, issuing a credit note is a trigger, is a very, very big trigger. So this is something that you have to do very soberly. And they give you this point to just look and see, is it okay? Is the receipt okay? So that I can approve. So the moment you do that, the customer phone number or KRA PIN, then the payment model that they're going to pay you, and then you can be able to print the receipt. You can be able to print the receipt. So for people that are doing a lot of sales, they have had, because of eTIMS and the regulations under eTIMS and how to maneuver, some of them have even come to hire somebody to be able to be doing these invoices and these receipts. I don't know if you're going to tell me on the chat how you're navigating issuing the sales, the process, because sometimes it's longer than what we were used to. But if you were using the integrated version, even the other one, then you don't have a headache. So let me talk about creating a credit note. So for instance, you made a mistake somewhere, and I've showed you that they give you a chance to just look at it. But if you made a mistake or there's something like a customer, you give them the invoice, they say, oh no, remove this one and this, you can issue a credit note. So this is how you do it. Select the transaction you wish to issue a credit note and click the details. So you're going to create the invoice, that invoice that you're having, and then you're going to go to the details. And then you're going to do cancel request button and confirm by selecting a yes. So it's a cancel request. And you select a yes. And you go here to and this is done under sales management module. So cancel request, you're going to it's going to come, that invoice that you're going to cancel, the one that you generated, this is the same invoice that we are going to cancel here. So select the transaction again, then click the details again, and then confirm credit note button and click confirm by clicking a yes. So confirm the issues. This is how you generated it. And then you say confirm. So if you still need to confirm the mode of payment, if they had paid you, you can do that, and then you can print the credit note. Okay. Sijui kama tuko pamoja. Are we together? So if you are together, you can say a yes. You can say a yes. Are we together? Before I go to the purchases. Thank you, my co-host, for answering a bit of the questions. Yes, I can see tuko pamoja. Yes, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to answer those if you can use multiple, and I don't know why. Why do you do you want to use multiple eTIMS? You have eTIMS client, the other one. Why? Previously, you would find that, remember, this invoicing should be synchronized. So you have 001, 002, 003. Then you move to now another one, client. Then you move to the portal. So there are some that they don't pick those how to synchronize the invoices. Sawa, asanteni. Let's do the purchases. We are still on navigating eTIMS. I'll still come back. Let me talk about how to approve the purchase. Remember I said that when you do a purchase, you issue your PIN number. You are supposed to find your purchases here automatically. And you can tell me if you find it, by the way. You can tell me, do you find your purchases here automatically after issuing your password? Your PIN. So we have the purchase management. We are going to do the approval. Select the purchase and the taxpayer made that is awaiting approval. So you're going to find it here, await for approval. So this is your customer now, is your supplier. And then you have the details. What did you buy? So you have all the items there that you bought. They are right there. And then you can click accept. So the moment you click accept, it's supposed to go to your stocks. So let's see adjusting stock. So we have the stocks there. This is under stock management, and I've stated that stocks now will be a big audit query. And I've even seen that at the moment, KRA is even doing stock movement audits. Select the specific line item you want to adjust and click adjust button. So if you want to adjust manually or if it is from the purchase, it's going to come automatically, but you can also adjust manually. So adjust there. And then you put the adjusted quantity there where the arrow is pointing, and then you save. And simple as that. Remember, for you to be able to sell, you need to have those stocks with you so that you can be able to sell them. Are we together? Navigating eTIMS portal online. So this is the eTIMS portal. The other one I was on eTIMS client. So I'm now on eTIMS portal. This is on eTIMS taxpayers portal. You just go to Google eTIMS portal, you do your invoice, you get your receipt, and then you close it. So this is how you do items. So once you log into the bar, this is what you're going to find. So we also have the search items classification and the rest. So we go to the items classification, and you're going to classify your items here. So I can do this one, I can do a service. Let's do a service. So for you who is saying, I'm just raising 3-4 invoices in a month, you can be able to use this one. So you're going to do item management. It has the item management. Remember the category type, it is there. You're going to select, and it has a drop down. So you selected the different whatever you're doing. So for instance, here we want to do the audit services, and there are so many services, so many. So you're going to find them there, and then you're going to have the category code right there. So you're going to register what you're doing, and then to search items. So let's do a sale. So if you need to add another item or a service, you can still add. So you fill in there. So this is how it looks like. For instance, the audit, the code is there. It's already generated. So there's a drop down. So you're just selecting internal audit. Item is what audits. It's a service. And then basic unit per unit. I guess we wrote there 10,000 country. There are spaces where they have the red marker. You see the red star. Those are the areas that you have to fill in. You have to fill in those areas. So even this one, basic unit price, you have to think about it and fill it because it won't move to the next level. So then we have our items registered now. Now we can be able to generate an invoice. So the same way we have the transactions management, sales by invoice, by item, so many things. So we want to do a sales receipt. So we come to the items. We are going to add, you can see my arrow, how my arrow is moving. Then we do the buyer's PIN, remember their phone number, their name, and the payment type. And you can see the red ones. So I don't know why KRA is interested even to the buyer's number and the payment type. Okay. And then provide the sales in items, and then we save. So this is it. We charge 10,000, and then there was no discount, everything, and then we save the receipt. So you can download the invoice, the receipt, and the receipt number selected. So you just select number 1, that was a receipt number, and then you just print. First, it gives you an overview. This is what you have stated, that you're going to do internal audit at 10,000. That is one quantity. And then everything, invoicing, all the other details, and then you print the receipt. Raising a credit note. Let's say that you have done something and you want to raise an invoice, a credit note. Same. So we have the receipt number was number 1. You select it. And then you can be able to say, is it partial, is it full credit, the full amount. And then if it is partial, you can describe, possibly it's not 10,000 anymore, it's 5,000. You can do that. Then select credit note, give a reason. So the reason is a drop down. So you just choose from what is given there. And then you can be able to generate the credit note successfully. Okay. So that was navigating eTIMS. Let me go back. So for a recap, I've mentioned, I want to give a recap. I've mentioned that you have to add all the items in your business, all of them. So initially you have to do a stock take. You do a stock take so that you can be able to start using eTIMS. You fill in the stocks there, and then you start using it. Items. For customers, I've mentioned that you incorporate customers that buy to you regularly just on it so that it is much easier for you to just be able to do that. That receipt becomes easier. For sales management, I've talked about being able to create an invoice, a receipt, and being able to do a credit note. For purchases management, I've mentioned that when you buy something from your supplier, it comes to you as a purchase, and you can be able to approve. You're going to find it on the system and you approve. When you approve, you're going to find it's going to push you, you're going to push it to your stock management. Import management, if you buy an import and you're going to sell it, you're going also to incorporate it under the import management. Stock management, remember I've mentioned that you're going to select the item, the quantity that you're selling to this customer, meaning at the end of it all, KRA will be able to synchronize what you bought and what you sold, and they're going to audit you on that. So that is the use of eTIMS. How we are using eTIMS now will be our audit queries for year 2027, 2028. So make sure that you use eTIMS properly and being aware of that whole cycle and being aware that this is data that you're saving somewhere and not with you. You're saving it with the KRA. You're just saving it with them. And that data you're saving with them, they're going to use that data to audit your business. I hope I'm clear. I wanted to talk about buyer-initiated invoicing before I talk about the validation process. So allow me to talk about the buyer-initiated. What is the eTIMS buyer-initiated invoicing? As I take you through the process. This is where we are having expenses and you're saying the people that we are buying from, this is the butcher, mama mboga, the painter, the repairer, all these people who are coming to the business, especially for the expenses. They don't have eTIMS and you've told us that you're going to disallow our expenses. So what do we do? Then there's eTIMS buyer-initiated invoicing, where if they have a PIN, you can be able to generate an invoice on their behalf. So what we call reverse invoicing, you generate an invoice on their behalf. So this is how you do it. The essence of this is that they have to accept. Remember, the moment they accept, they are supposed to also file taxes on their side. So they have to be aware of what you did, otherwise it can be misused. So they have to understand that at the end of the year, they are supposed to file taxes because they did business. And that transaction, it is available on KRA, and KRA is going to query one day and say, we can see on eTIMS you've been supplying cabbages to this company, or you've been supplying vegetable items to this company. So tell us about your business and the taxes they are on. So step one, buyer-initiated reverse invoicing using the USSD code, the 222 hash. The supplier, you put the supplier detail, nature of the goods, transaction value, VAT status, supplier acknowledgement. This is where we mentioned that they are supposed to acknowledge. So just showed you how to do it. This is the USSD is the one that you're using your phone. So select option, KRA option. The option number 5, KRA services. Then option number 4, buyer initiated. Then after that, you're going to go to create an invoice or review request, and go to the view request, and then you can be able to select relevant invoice to approve, and then you can be able to select and approve or reject. Okay, sorry. Hii ilikuwa how to approve eTIMS invoice using USSD. So this was not on creating tumepeleka wapi? So this was on approving. So the moment somebody does the invoicing, you're supposed to find it on, you see, select step number 5. There are 3 of them. Then you approve. So for it to be successful, the person who is being reverse invoiced, tuseme huyo mama mboga, lazima aende kwa simu yake, afanye hii process, ndio ikuwe approved. So that you can say, actually, I'm having an eTIMS invoice from this mama mboga. Otherwise, if they don't come and select here approve, then it will not go through. So this was the approval system, approval way. The other way, I guess I'll add the notes for generating the invoice so that we can get the approval process. Are we okay? So I want to talk about the validation process. Before I do that, the eTIMS validation process. Before we do that, let me see. Have you been able to understand a bit of eTIMS? So I see a bit of question. Let me answer a few. How do I record? Okay. Let me answer for here. How do I record? How do I record? Ilikuwa gani? How do I record? Sorry. For import consolidation, you can adjust your stocks. Hapo nilisema adjust your stocks. You can do that, adjust your stocks. But remember, if you using a consolidator, I don't know how you do that because you lose on VAT at the point of entry. If today you brought a car, you find that you paid like a million or 500,000 worth of VAT. So if you sometimes you bring it through the clearers and forwarders and what, I don't know how they do it, you don't find that VAT. So if you're buying an item, for instance, items for sale, these are stocks from China, and use the consolidators. When you bring it here, and you want to use to sell it with 16%, you appear like you're the manufacturer. And I give an example. If you're bringing furniture, you use a consolidator. You just paid them some money to clear for you. When it comes here and you want to sell it at 50,000, you'd be selling it at 50,000 plus VAT without you having purchases. So you not be having purchases in VAT on your purchases. So to have kulipa hiyo 16% yote. Sijui kama tuko clear. So you'll be paying a lot of VAT. For purchases, when you give your purchaser supply your PIN, are you not supposed to find it on the invoice on your eTIMS? Yes, you are. Imports are exempted from eTIMS. Yes, they are, but you have to find them on the system. When you import, you have to register the import. Can it be used? Can eTIMS be used to tenants asking for eTIMS receipt? What is the relevance of MRI when I return monthly or as an individual? Been a good question. Paul. So you're having tenants, residential tenants who are asking for eTIMS invoice on your wakali. You can't be able to give them eTIMS invoice, whether it is client eTIMS invoice in eTIMS too. Whether the other ones are just models, whether you're using USSD, whatever, those are models, but eTIMS invoice is just an eTIMS invoice. How do you marry eTIMS and MRI, monthly rental income tax? This means if you gave out eTIMS worth 100,000 for your tenants. For instance, you're having like two of them, they are paying you 50,000, 50,000. You give them eTIMS invoices or eTIMS receipts. Let me talk about eTIMS receipt. You give them 100,000. That 100,000 is what you're supposed to do MRI for that month. Then you do 7.5%. Remember, for you to have eTIMS and VAT, it's totally different. So you shouldn't, for MRI, as for residential property, don't register for VAT. So you're having eTIMS, but you're not on VAT. So when you're having eTIMS, it just shows transactions. eTIMS is just showing transactions, how we are doing business, how we are selling, how we are buying. So when you move to the threshold of VAT, if you're doing business 5 million, you go and get VAT. If you're below 5 million, you have eTIMS that is non-VAT. If you have MRI, you're having eTIMS, but you don't have VAT. So that money that you gave eTIMS receipts, just do MRI on that. And remember, MRI is final tax. At the end of the year, you're not supposed to do corporation tax or any other thing. When you're offering services, just issue an eTIMS invoice. I have a restaurant, major part of my stock are vegetable. Is it visible to use eTIMS on such stocks? It is very difficult. Please advise. This is now where the issues are coming in, especially for such restaurants. But KRA is very strict on this. So we might be having eTIMS for 2025, where we are going to file, they're going to give us sheets to file, but specifically for year 2026, we have to incorporate eTIMS on our expenses. So tell Mama Mboga, I'm very sure uko kwa soko, there's somebody who is already starting to onboard eTIMS. Kuna watu tu watakuwa there, they were telling you, me, I can give you an eTIMS invoice, just buy from me. So you start incorporating those that can give you those eTIMS. For those using, okay, that was answered. I am the business of export, curious, hardcraft ornaments, who do not have eTIMS are not willing to give pins for me to generate reverse invoice. How do I handle this? Kenneth, how do we help you? How do we help you, Kenneth? I think I've handled, let me just give an example. I've handled a client who are doing avocado export, and most farmers are there. They don't want to give out an eTIMS invoice at all. They don't want. But he made a rule. If I must buy from you, you bring an eTIMS invoice. And that is how he started they started complying, because they need to sell their fruit. So if you have that option, then you can do that. And you find there are people who are totally willing not to. So he started using those who are willing. So those who are willing to give eTIMS, they buy for those who are not willing to give. Then they give him. So he covers his entire purchase through eTIMS. Remember, most of these people have an issue with eTIMS because the issue is that I'm going to do eTIMS. I'm going to file return on my site after issuing. They can also consider something like turnover tax, which is a final tax, and proceed. Can you do reverse invoicing without PIN? Also, if the other party does not approve, what happens? No, you cannot. You must have a PIN, and the other party has to approve. The other party has to approve. Repeat on reverse invoicing. Okay. So keep asking the question. Okay, for import through consolidation, I mentioned, you can adjust. Yes, you get the presentation. Okay, you can ask another question. I don't know, my questions are going where? Okay. So let me talk about the validation process. As you continue asking the question, let me talk about the validation process. Is that okay? Let me see. Yes. That I see I'm not having an issue with the chat. I hope we are getting somewhere. I want to see a yes. Okay, co-host, you can tell me if I'm audible because I'm not seeing the messages. Kama niko sawa. Okay, okay, okay. Sawa, na message zimepotea, sioni. Sawa. Let's proceed. Let's proceed to the validation process. I'll go back to your questions. I hope we started doing our audit. Remember, we might be having a bit of complexity with the audit because of the validation process. And if KRA is going to do what they promised, that they have to give us a sheet, then we have to upload the supporting documents. Then it's gonna be long process. So this is not a process that you start doing on June 1st and you're unafikiria. Then June 20th, you're still there. So make sure that you start off as fast as possible to just make sure that the process is okay. So we have the validation exercise that KRA is going to verify our expenses. Remember, they have the declared income with them, the verification of incomes. We have the sales that we do on eTIMS. We have our purchases. They want to verify the expenses that we claim. So any expense, which are these expenses? Rent, fuel, electricity, water, wages. And remember, we had wages and salaries, which should be covered on your pay as you earn, on how you also filed housing, affordable housing levy. I mentioned about that. So this is very important for you to understand. At the moment, the nil return was withheld, but now has been restored. You cannot file a nil return when you have transactions. Last year, we could do that. You could do your eTIMS and just file the nil return. At the moment, you cannot file. If you had eTIMS transactions, you can file. If somebody at that party reported that they bought anything from you, you cannot do a nil return. If you had a withholding certificate somewhere, you can't do a nil return. The moment you do it, it will tell you there's some data somewhere about your transaction that you should go back and report the taxes. I also think they are using a bit of AI to just get this information as fast as possible. If you do your sales, remember income tax, it is your sales, your purchases, and your expenses. Then you get your net profit, you charge 30%. So if I declare 20 million, that was my sale. My purchases was 15 million. My expenses was 3 million. All that data should be inside KRA system, that the moment I just write there, it just synchronizes and says, this is correct, proceed. So the moment they find that your sales, yes, 30, 20 was okay, your 15 purchases is okay, but these 3 million of expenses you're introducing here, we can't see any information. It is telling you to go back in and redo your calculation. So at the moment they are saying they are going to enhance the filing with that sheet that you're going to upload all those supporting document. We shall come to that, and we shall come when we are doing the tax trends. We are following it up every day to just see how they are going to go about it and what will be happening. So and then also it's time to prepare proper documentation so that if we need before all that process of uploading the documents, you have everything correct. Let's talk about VAT special table. This has been an ongoing issue, and every day there are companies that are being pushed. Wanasema invitation to special table. Have you received that letter, invitation to special table, and they give you 7 working days? So what are the triggers? And VAT special table is a very hectic process when you get inside. Remember, your VAT filing is put on hold, and sometimes they're even suspending your eTIMS machine. And even if they are not suspending, even if you generate, because it is not uploading, the customer will not accept it. They will go on their side and they don't find it viable. So it is a process that is geared to stopping your business from running. I think so. It's geared towards closing your business. So it is a very hectic process. The VAT, you cannot issue an eTIMS invoice to anybody. And remember, there are some of our businesses, especially if you're doing more, if you're VAT, you're doing 3 million and above. There's that time that all your customers, they have to request for the eTIMS invoice or the eTIMS receipt. If they come and you start telling them, oh, you're not giving out, you're having KRA issues, oh, they run away. They don't want even to be involved with your business. So it is collapsing. If there's anything that is collapsing business at the moment, it is special table. So you don't want to be there. So what are the triggers? So these are a list of the trigger that is triggered. They will trigger you getting that invitation. And that invitation, 7 days, you have to act very, very fast. Otherwise, by the 7th day, they put you on special table. And by the time, by the time you're removed, it is 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, sometimes 6 months. All this time, you've totally closed that business. And you cannot go ahead and get another VAT. You know, that's Kenyans. When you go to KRA and you find you're not getting anything, any help, you start registering another company, register another VAT, you get another eTIMS. It's not happening. You cannot get a VAT obligation approved if you have another company that is on special table. So if you're having other issues, remember VAT registration has been so much enhanced to a place. KRA is even doing panel discussion. They even want to come and visit your business to see if you're viable for VAT registration. Oh, so for VAT, for a company to be VAT registered today is another very big process. So don't push your company on special table. Otherwise, even registering another company, it's a hectic, it's a tall order. So payment, number one, why get listed? Payment return without payments, payment returns without payments. So the payments, you're doing your returns, but there are no payments. And you're having those arrears on the system. So many. And this is arrears from even 2025. At the moment, if you have arrears on the system which are not explainable, you're not on objection, you might be having assessment, but you are objection, you are in the you are at the ADR at the tribunal, which you have to justify. But if you're having arrears on the system and they keep calling you, oh, give us a payment plan, or pay your debt, or see what, they issue the invitation to special table that you can now come, we discuss a payment plan. If you don't discuss a payment plan that is workable, they push you to special table. Non-filers, you're just having it there, but you're not filing. Nil filers with input claims. So you're having nil filing, but you have input claims. And remember, the moment if somebody uses your PIN, the system is very efficient. It can be able to know there's a business transaction that is happening somewhere, but this person is not doing the correct filing. TIMS and eTIMS non-compliance, if you're having eTIMS, TIMS issues, if you're doing a lot of credit notes, a lot of issues on the eTIMS, it can be able to know, it can be able to synchronize, can be able to even get the map where it can even know where that machine is. Remember something about the missing trader or VAT fraud. The missing trader, through eTIMS, they can be able to even know that this eTIMS fraud is being done River Road, this building. So missing trader is where a long time ago, someone would not have their purchases and they just buy a purchase receipt, no transaction, no nothing, and just buy it and use it to claim. You cannot do it right now. If you do it 1 month, the second month, the system can be able to tell that this is the eTIMS, this is a fraud, it's a VAT fraud, this invoice is not valid. And especially if you get those ones for missing trader, it's a hard one. You're going to even go the legal way. Claiming VAT from blacklisted suppliers. So if you have suppliers who have issues with their VAT, if you claim from them, you get, especially if you're claiming from suppliers who are missing traders, you always find yourself that you're having eTIMS. And if KRA comes, sometimes they'll be looking for people like suppliers, and they don't come on forth. They try to get somebody, that person is not coming forth. They can look at this person, who are they selling to? They now target the customers and they tell you, we would want to know, have you ever received those letters that KRA tells you, want to write for us all the invoices, all the transactions that you've done with this person? Just a letter. They are not auditing you, they are auditing the other company, but they want you to write them a letter. So when you get that letter, kindly move very fast. So what do you do if you're listed? Engage KRA immediately. Remember, I mentioned that a special table means that your business is on hold. So engage, verify, review, and rectify compliance gap. If there are gaps, just be able to comply. If there are taxes that are supposed to be paid, ask for a payment plan so that you can be able to be reinstated, your VAT filing and your eTIMS, so that you can proceed with business. Then we have seek professional support, very, very important, and that is why we are here. So we are on emerging issues, so that I can go back and answer a few of your questions. We also have an emerging issue on petrol stations. So the petrol stations, when eTIMS came in, they actually gathered and went to the courts and they said, oh, we can't do this and this and this. And KRA listened. But now there is a system that they're supposed to use, a fuel system that all petrol stations in Kenya must integrate their forecourt, POS, and fuel management system with the KRA eTIMS. So they have their own eTIMS way of doing for fuel tracking. So your forecourt na POS na fuel management is where you pump the vehicle. So that is where they are going to incorporate it there. And so the moment they fuel a car, data goes KRA, direct to KRA. They fuel my car, it goes, they fuel some because previously they could just issue eTIMS to somebody who just requested. So if a company is requesting, they will issue. But for me, if I'm going home and I'm not requesting, they don't care. But now this has been put. So it was, KRA had stated that they were supposed to incorporate it by 31st December 2025. So we are in the phase now to February for the use of the eTIMS for petrol station to track their fuel. So you can be able to tell me if you've seen it, or if you're running a fuel station, if you've done it, utuambie hapo tuone, and then we can see. So we also have an emerging issue on policy and incentives overview. So this is where the National Electric Mobility Policy Kenya have launched a VAT and excise duty exemptions for parts, EV parts and charging station equipment for planning to begin July 2026. So if you're having an electric vehicle, an electric motorbike, the equipment, the charging stations, they want to exempt the VAT and excise so that they can reduce the cost of the battery charges and lower the cost of establishing the charging station so that people can continue using, they can motivate people to go the electric way. So I think that's what I had for today. Yeah, I had something else. Common mistakes in using eTIMS. Common mistakes, issuing eTIMS offline and forgetting to sync. So you use it offline, but at the end of the day, remember that sync is supposed to share that data to KRA to transmit. So you get, your supplier gets that data, that receipt or that invoice, but they cannot see it on their side. It cannot auto-populate. So make sure that you're able to do this very, very well. Have somebody efficient to do this. Sometimes if you do so many and you forget, you keep forgetting for so many days, the moment you just open to do this, you find some will be left out, and your client will start asking for credit notes. And the moment you start issuing so many credit notes, remember, it's also not very good. Forgetting buyer's PIN. Ensure that you provide your PIN when making a purchase. Remember, you cannot claim a purchase that you did not issue a PIN. Remember, when we do auto-population, you cannot add a purchase. So make sure that all your purchases are done properly. And there are companies that have gone further. Before they pay you, they have to make sure that they can scan the invoice and verify the data. They go to invoice checker, they verify all that information, then they pay you. If they find that they cannot see that invoice, they tell you, give us a credit note, give us another invoice before we pay you. So go to that level. Don't wait until it is the month is over. We are that team. The month is over. Like now, today is 13th. Is the time you're looking at invoices for January. And when you're going to look at that, the moment you auto-populate, you find that you're having 5 that are not auto-populating. And you start going back to your supplier and telling them, oh, this one is not auto-populating. That is the time they're telling you, oh, it had a query, it had a problem. And remember, you're going to pay for VAT, yet you have those invoices with you. You know, this is not the time that we used to keep invoices. Long time ago, I've been long in the tax area. So I was there when we were doing manual. Hakukwata tax. We used to do manual VATs. We stamp papers, then we attach invoices, then we take to KRA manually before iTax came in. But now, then when it came in, remember the purchase, you can use it for 6 months. So what we used to do, unatumia hii mwezi zikitosha, hizo zingine unazipush the other month, unapimanisha. Let's say that. Unapimanisha so that you know how much VAT you're going to pay. No, nowadays we are in a new era. Hakuna kupimanisha. If your supplier uses your PIN, you get that purchase on the system immediately. So if you're having like 5 pins, 5 purchases invoices that don't auto-populate, and those purchases have a VAT amount of like 30,000, for instance, or 50,000. And that 50,000 was supposed to cover your sales so that you are an accredited position, or you pay 20,000. You're going to pay 70,000, and yet you have those purchases invoices with you just because they did not auto-populate, and you cannot do anything. You can't go to KRA and say, by the way, I have this one, so I can't pay VAT. Apana. So it's upon your responsibility to make sure that your purchases, you'll be able to find them before you pay. You find them before the end of the month, so that if it has a problem, you can tell the supplier, give me a credit note. Then, and when you go to KRA, they'll tell you, no, just have credit notes and utilize them this month. So that is very, very important. Not onboarding all branches. So you find that you're having like 5 branches. You onboard 2 branches on eTIMS, then the other ones not in eTIMS. Selectively using eTIMS, so you sell to one customer with eTIMS. The other ones we don't sell with eTIMS. I've talked about how KRA is tying your purchases to your sales. So at one point, they'll be able to know that you're selectively using eTIMS. Failing to issue eTIMS invoice after a sale. So you can be able to integrate. Some of us, because we are having you're having QuickBooks here, or you're having my Accurate Book software, and the other one, you're having the eTIMS machine, you keep forgetting doing it. So you can automate and make sure that you remember, or you put it in a place where you can really remember. So I want to answer some of the questions. We have like 20 minutes to answer the questions. I hope it has been helpful. Let me see if I can be able to see the questions. So ask the questions. So we have the taxation masterclass. that I've set it there. You can come and learn. So we always, okay, now I can see them. How different is eating for non-profits? So how can I track if I've registered under USSD? I believe if you go to your iTax portal, you use the iTax portal, use the same password, you can be able to. So the notes will share on the link. Can you help on calculating excess duty on water business? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. My co-host also, you can do a calendar booking. Kindly do a calendar booking. We can help you do that. So I had paid close to 1.4 million on salaries. The all employee except one. Is it okay if I claim these amounts? Yes, it is very important because it is expense to the business. But what I'm guaranteeing is that the moment you claim, you're going to have that query. That query, I've seen that query last year for affordable housing levy, but you also make sure that you have your sheets very well. While you pay them, make sure that you have their name, the amount, very, very well. Also, if these people are employees, they are not casual, they are employees. Hiyo umesema, you can put them there. It will give you a zero, but it can be able to recognize those salary expenses. Can you please repeat on the consolidated imports? Okay, so Patricia said, for consolidated, you pay the consolidator or the clearer and forwarder. You pay them some amount, they bring your items. There's no documentation, just the receipt of the money that you received. You have to add these items. If you're selling them the way they are, you have to add them and start selling them using eTIMS. You appear like you're the manufacturer because you're going to pick all the, if you're buying, for instance, a bottle at 300 shillings, you're going to add 16% and sell at 300 shilling plus VAT, inclusive or exclusive. You're not going to have purchases, VAT on your purchases. So you end up paying a lot of VAT because you don't have purchases, VAT on your purchases. Nasema purchases ndio ikuwe rahisi. But if you used your cargo, there are those taxes you pay at the port. So you may find a full container or whatever you've paid like $1 million worth of VAT. Ukikuja kwa system yako unaiweka unaitumia. When you're selling, you use that VAT. Remember, VAT is input, output. Kuja masterclass, Patricia. How do you know blacklisted supplier? Sometimes you may not know if their PIN is going through, not unless when there's a there's a KRA query. What happens when you have entered an input VAT and it has reflected, but during the time of purchase, but when filing input, it disappears? My co-host, you can answer that one. I don't know the magic on that. Is the process of validation starting? It is online. The moment you file your income tax, it is telling you. The other time I demonstrated what it is telling us. So it is online. And you can tell me, have you filed your income tax return for year 2025? Na ikaenda through automatically, and it had values. See, Neil, it had values. It had sales, purchases, and expenses. You can tell me on the chat. So let me talk about, I can see about eTIMS for non-profit. So remember, when it comes to KRA is interested on taxes. So what are the taxes for non-profit NGOs, non-profit making organization? Of course, there is no tax on your incomes. And remember, I mentioned here before that just because you are a non-profit NGO, you should be having an exemption certificate. An exemption certificate is able to cover all that. Some I've seen organizations that have been audited and they say, oh, this is what we do, this is what we do. But because they did not have that exemption certificate, it becomes very, very. I went off. You can tell me if you can hear me. Apologies. You can tell me if you can hear me. Apologies for that. You can tell me if you can hear me. Oh, my data went off. My apology. So I've said for NGOs, just make sure that you have that certificate, and also you pay the relevant taxes that are there, especially for your employees. Those will be the queries. Those will be the biggest areas of queries. So I'd want to welcome you to our taxation masterclass, where you're going to learn more practical areas on on taxes. And okay, let me go back before. Let me go to back to the a bit, just for 2 minutes only. For 2 minutes only, I talk about it. You're going to learn about tax or taxes in Kenya, tax saving strategies, audit, tax audit, what triggers audit, the dispute resolution mechanism, filing of taxes, eTIMS, everything. And it is extremely practical, and you're going to give you a certificate at the end of it all. So physical, we have 50,000 for 3 days, and we also have online 25,000 for 10 days. So there are people who said, I understand when I'm there physically. So you've been incorporated in the training. So you come in and you train. We will also be having a CEO fast with the HFC Bank. Will be on 19th. I'm going to also share. We'll be talking about eTIMS and also AI in business. So we are RWK Africa. We do tax services, audit services. We also do tax health checks. If you would want to just understand how you're doing taxes, how you're doing eTIMS, you can, we can be able to do this, and you just put we can even do a tax planning with you. If you're having a KRA issue, they have issued you a letter. I always recommend representation. Don't just walk there. We can do that representation, and we just make sure that your business is okay. For audit services, because we understand taxes, we are able to give you a very good cover, so that most of the tax issues comes from how we do our audit, how we do our books. So this audit services, it is very essential to you. We do internal audit and so many, even bookkeeping. We also have an accounting system that is called My Accurate Books. It's an accounting system that it's locally made. After seeing all the issues, especially the tax issues, most of tax issues come from two areas: lack of understanding of tax and record keeping. So most of us are unable to keep records properly. And we went out to ask, why don't you keep your records very well? Most of you cited accounting issues. You're unable to understand the accounting softwares that are there. So this is very simplified. You can be able to understand it. You don't have to have the knowledge of accounting to be able to use it. So very simplified, very good, and very efficient. Especially for our Kenyan market. So with that, let me see if I have another question before I request for another 10 minutes. Let's see if I have another question. So if you have a personalized question, you can do a calendar booking, or you can pick our number and say you want to talk to me. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you. You can do the calendar booking. We can be able to guide you on something that is when is the talk again? Next week on Friday. We'll be talking about real estate. So tell a friend to come. Real estate, let them come. So I can see queries on masterclass. You can register on the notes where you are filling in the notes. If you don't want the masterclass, there's a place where you could have stated. Just state there. Or my co-host, you can give that link again. Give the link for masterclass. Give the link. If you don't want somebody to call you and tell you more about the masterclass, kindly put the link there. Yes, I'll share the notes with you. Yes, I'll share the notes with you after this. So asanteni sana sana sana. Thank you for coming. If you have time, this is a request that I'm making. If you have a bit of time, like 10 minutes, I would want my co-host to talk about my Accurate Books accounting software for 10 minutes. So if you're ready, you can tell me. So we have the taxation masterclass register there. If you would want, kindly register there. Someone is going to pick and call you and tell you more about it. So John, Joachim, are we ready? If you have 10 more minutes, I would request to just stay so that you can understand a bit about our system. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nicholas. Asante sana. Mkuwe na Valentine mzuri. A wonderful Friday.
Hello, good afternoon, guys. Hope you are well, and I hope you had a good interaction about the trending issue on eTIMS. So I'll be able to take you about my Accurate Books, which is an accounting software, which is meant to help in managing of your business, and also you'll be able to generate different accounting reports, and also from accounting reports to knowing how your business is performing, and also it will be able to act as a point of sale for your business. So you can be able to manage an overview of all your business, and also you can be able to track the expenses you incur in your business. So I'll just log. These are the landing page on the website, where you'll be able to know about what the software entails, and you can be able to know about the features, and also to get our contacts in case you experience an issue. We are always there for support. So I'll just log into my real account so that I can share a 10 minutes overview of how the system works. So hope you can be able to see my screen. So this is when you log into your account, this the landing page will be able to view. That is more about the dashboard, and it gives you analysis of how your business is performing. That is the sales, the expenses, the purchases, and also it gives you an overview of how your business is currently performing. That is the profit and loss. And also it gives you a weekly sales performance, how the week has been. You can be able to feel to have a graphical representation of on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis to know maybe January, February, and March, how the months performing compared to each other. And also on this far corner, the data report, you get to see about how much, if maybe you do sales on credit, you'll be able to see the amount of money still out there with your client, so that you can always be able to set limit of the amount of money you can be able to uh, the services you can be able to offer on credit to your customers. So the dashboard just gives you an overview of the business, and also it's where you can be able to, if maybe you run different branches, you can be able to switch from one branch to the other branch and generate a report for each particular branch on its own, so that you can be able to know the progress of each particular branch on its own. And if you want a consolidated report of all the branches, you can always be able to choose all branches and generate a consolidated report of all the branches. Then the other part, when you go to the business profile, if maybe you run two different businesses, you can be able to have add another business on your profile, so that you can also be able to manage those particular businesses under one account. But each particular businesses you'll be able to factor have its own reports, accounting reports on its own. And also when sending invoices, it will also be able to have its own letterhead, so that you can be able to differentiate maybe a service industry business and also a product business. So on the profile, that's where you'll be able to input different payment methods. That is the payment, the bank, the cash, and also you can be able to integrate it with your tills, so that you can always be able to prompt customers when they are making the payments, instead of giving them the long till number to input on their end. And also we have my Accurate Pay wallet, which is basically meant as a pool of collection for your funds. We have also integrated it on the system. It helps in your collection of money and also for petty cash management in maybe paying for different expenses within your company. So you can be able to integrate that on the system. Then what are the other? And also you can be able to input terms and conditions on that will be able to appear on your invoices and also quotations. And also on the activity, so if you have different users on the system, you'll be able to have an audit trail of where each particular user went when they logged into the system, so that you can not have any malpractice within your system. So it's something you can always be able to generate. So we can go into the different segments of the system. So from the dashboards, we can go to the items. Is where you'll be able to input different products you particularly sell, and also services you offer. So the system can be used to manage both services and also products. So you can be able to add products, and also if you are dealing with services, you can always be able to add those particular services. So when you click on add item, you'll be able to add the different, if it's products on the category, you select it's a product. If it's a service on the category, you'll be able to select it's a service or a product, and then you can be able to input the current stock you have, the purchase price, the selling price, and also reorder value, the maximum selling, and also the minimum selling prices. And also you can input a photo of that particular product, and you can be able to add it in your inventory. If it's a service, you just click service, add the service name, the selling price of that particular service, the VAT type, and maximum and minimum selling price. And also if you have an image, you can always be able to add it there, and then you'll be able to add. And also if you have many items to add into your inventory, you can be able to generate this particular Excel template, and then you can be able to populate the data of all your inventory, and then you can choose that particular file and upload it on the system, and those particular items and services will be able to appear on your inventory list. So that is more of the adding your services and also your products on the system. Then on the sales is where you can be able to create receipts and invoices. You can be able to create quotations, credit notes, and also receive payments. That is updating maybe a customer you had sold to them on a credit basis. So whenever they make a payment, you can always be able to update those particular payments. So you can just do a quick sale of a receipt. So I can just select maybe a particular an item from my system. So if maybe it's a one, so the moment you click add items, all your products and services will be able to appear there. And also you can be able to search the products by name. So maybe I can just select this ventilation SP fan and add that particular item. So I can always be able to change the quantity I want to sell to a particular client. So maybe I want to sell 3 pieces of them. Then I select a customer. So I can be able to select a customer, and also I can be able to add customers on the system. So when I go to there, I can be able to add a customer. So if it's an individual customer, I just need the names and the phone number. But for a business client, you need the business name, their KRA PIN, contact person, so that all this information will be able to appear on the particular invoice. We'll be able to issue them. So that's how you go about it. So I can just select a walk-in. So if I select a walk-in, and then I can be able to process. So if you have integrated with your M-Pesa, you can actually be able to prompt a customer and just input, they just input the PIN, and the data will auto-populate itself on the system. But for now, because I've not integrated my till on this end, I just click on payment. So let's say this particular client paid through our maybe our bank account, that is the Zincho roofing. Then I can be able to create that value. So the moment you prompt a customer, these are the reference code will be able to populate it on the system, and you can always just complete the sale. So this is you can be able to generate a receipt. So these are the particular receipt which you can be able to generate. It has your entity name, location, and also then the customer. So if it's you had register the customer on this particular system, you'll be able to have a customer name and also the items you sold and also how they made the payment. So you can have this particular receipt, or you can generate the PDF one. So when you come to that particular customer, and you can be able to generate a PDF invoice receipt and also a delivery note. So maybe I can just generate one, and we have a look of each. So this will be the outlook. So you'll be able to have the business, the entity name, and also this area you'll be able to have your logo, and also the item, the customer, and the items you sold to that particular customer, and also the payment information that customer paid through, and also it will be able to have even the reference code from that particular payment. And also if you have a question, you can always drop it on the chat box, and somebody will be there to answer that. And also I'll be able to take the question at the end of the session. So that is how you can be able to generate receipts and also an invoice. So on the quotation, you can also be able to generate quotations from the system. So, and again, if you generate a quotation, you can always be able to turn it to an invoice when it is accepted by the person you send the quotation to. So if you want a quotation, just click quotation. It is very seamless. So just select the items you want to quote for, maybe these two particular items. And then you can be able to add, and then indicate maybe the quantities you want to quote for, maybe 10, maybe let's say 5 and 5. 5 and 5, and then you can be able to select a customer. So I just select a customer within the system. So let's say I want to issue that quotation to Abdi. Payment method, they are supposed to, in case they accept the quotation, to make it through our bank account. The expiry of the quotation, you can give it 7 days, and then you will be able to create a quotation. So you can, so these are quotation, then you can always be able to view that particular quotation. So this is the outlook of the quotation. So it becomes seamless to create a quotation and also to generate it to an invoice. So these are the quotation, having your entity name, logo, customer, items you are quoting for, payment information, and also you'll be able to input terms and conditions which go with that particular quotation. So when you go back to the system, if this particular invoice is accepted by Abdi, you can you just click create, generate an invoice, and you can generate an invoice. And when you go to invoices, you can always be able to find that particular invoice for Abdi there, and you can be able to generate it, and also you can be able to share, and also you print it and share with Mr. Abdi. So the other part is on the credit note. Maybe a customer, the items you had sold to a customer had some issues, and a customer makes a return of them. You can always be able to generate quotations. Then on the received payments is where if you sell on credit, you'll always be able to see the pending invoices from your customer. And also whenever they make the payments, you can always be able to collect per invoice. So if it is a particular invoice, then the customer has made payment, you can always select either they made on a full payment or a partial payment. And then you can be able to select the payment method they have paid through. And then you can be able to update that particular info. And if you have integrated with your till, whenever that particular customer makes the payment, it will be able to auto-populate the data on the system. So that is how you manage to update pending payments of customers. Then on the other part is on the purchases. On the purchases where you can be able to create purchase orders for your suppliers to maybe to supply you some products and some products, or and also the purchase you can be able to record invoices which you get from your suppliers, so that you can always have a correct supplier statement of the things they supply to you. And also you can always be able to track all the purchases you made as an entity. And also you can also be able to issue debit notes whenever maybe some items supplied by the supplier had issues. You can always create debit notes, and also you can be able to add your suppliers on the system, so that whenever they make a supply, you can always be able to denote that particular receipt or invoice sent by them to that particular supplier, so that you can, whenever they want maybe a statement, you can always be able to generate that. So if you want a supplier statement, you can always be able to view a supplier statement. Then on the transaction, you can always be able to see the transaction that is from the money ins. That is from all the sales, from the invoices and the receipts, and also the money out. That is now the payment to your suppliers for the goods they have been able to supply to you. You can always be able to have that. Then we can go on the accounting bit is where now the accountants and all the business owners can be able to generate different accounting reports. So the system will be able to generate all those particular reports automatically from the cash flow statement. You can when you click on the cash flow statement, you can always be able to see the cash flow statement. That is all the money ins and all the money outs within your business, and also the beginning cash balance and also the ending balance. You can always have these in PDF and also in Excel. These are sample of these particular accounts of the money ins and also the cash outflows, the cash inflows and cash outflows. Then the balance sheet, you can also be able to generate the balance sheet from the system. This is an outlook of a balance sheet. You can always be able to generate them in both a PDF and also in Excel, and also the trial balance. And then on the charts of account is where you can be able to add a different sub accounts, and also so you can be able to add a different sub accounts. So when you click on the account type, you can always be able to choose this particular account goes under which particular category, from the expenses, the current asset, fixed asset, current liabilities. You can always be able to input that. And then now the other part is that is the journal of entries. Again, you can also be able to add a journal of entry, and also is a sample of the journal of entries within the system from what I've been able to input into the system. So that is more of the accounting reports, and also we have the other report that is your inventory reports that gives you a stock overview report about the items which are within your organization, that is the stock, and also the stock value, the items which are selling better, low moving items, so that you can always be able to make a better decision when reordering from your supplier. Then on the profit loss, you can always be able to generate a profit and loss statement, which will be able to show you how your business is performing. So you can always be able to filter depending on maybe the dates you want that particular report for. So can be able to have all the revenue from invoices, then the cost of goods sold, operating expenses, and you can also be able to have to see where your business is performing in terms of net income, and also expense summary of all the expenses, and also the dates that particular expenses were incurred. Then again, on the customer reports, you can be able to generate aging accounts receivables of your customers. You can always be able to see the customer again stayed with this particular date for how long, and the total amount, and also it gives you an overview of the total amount which those particular customers have. And also you can also generate customer balances. So all of these are the system auto generates for that, so it makes your work more simplified in generating these particular reports. So the other part is maybe on the sales report, you can also be able to generate a sales report, which gives you a report of all the sales which were made on that particular day, if paid, if unpaid, or paid partially. So the other aspect which is very important in an organization is user management. So you can be able to have different users into the system. Say maybe the cashier is supposed to be making the sales, maybe a storekeeper who just manages the inventory. So you can always be able to add them on the system, and also they will be able to have their login credentials. So they'll be log into the system with their own credential of the admin's credentials, and you can be able to give them the roles they do, and also on the next page you can be able to limit on the areas they can be able to visit. So if you want somebody just to manage the inventory, you just give him the inventory permission. You want them to manage also the sales and the customers, you give so the permission given is what will appear on their end when they log in with their different credentials. That is very important in an organization, so that to avoid a conflict of roles. Then on the branches, if a particular business has different branches, you can be able to input the different branches. So, and also assign employees to the different branches. And so that when generating reports, you can be able to generate reports depending on each particular branch. And also, if you want a consolidated report of all the branches, you can always be able to switch to all branches and generate a report. So whenever you switch to a branch, the information, the expenses, you'll be able to factor for that particular branch. So I think I've not talked about the expenses. So on the expenses where you'll be able to input the different expenses business incurs. So you can always be able to click on the add expense and select the different categories. All you can always be able to add a category depending on the expenses you incur as a business, so that when an expense is incurred, it goes to a particular category, so that when generating a report, if it's about the salaries, you can always be able to know on the salaries at this particular time period, we spend this particular amount. If it's on the internet expenses, we spend this particular amount. If it's on the legal and professional fees, we spend this particular amount for better decision making as a business. And also, if maybe you want to see where which expense carries too much money, and you want maybe to cut some of those particular expenses, it gives you a better ability to make that particular decision. So if you input the different expenses, you can always be able to see them there, and also generate a PDF and an Excel report of your expenses. Then on the customers, I guess I'm not sure. On the customers, you can be able to add two types of customers, individual customers and also business customers. So now individual customers just need the name and the phone number, and also if they had an opening balance with you. And also for the business, you just turn that particular tab on, and you will be able to input the business name, their KRA, contact person, phone number, and in case they had an opening balance. And also you can be able to categorize your customers in different categories. In case you want to do a bulk invoicing, you can always be able to do a bulk invoicing, and also shipping address and also the billing address. And then you can be able to add that. So if you categorize your customers, you'll be able to see the different categories they are in, so that when creating invoice, so I can just go back to the sales. When generating invoice, if it's you want to do a bulk invoicing, you can always be able to select a particular category and do a bulk invoicing for that particular category. So the other part is so on the My Accurate Pay. So this is the wallet I've talked about. It's a wallet where you'll be able to manage your petty cash within your organization. So if you have maybe a supplier to pay, you can always be able to pay using your wallet. And also it becomes like a pool of collection for your funds within an organization. That is maybe money from the sales from your customers. You can always be able to prompt them, and it comes to your wallet, where you'll be able to have the total pool collection from all the sales, so that it becomes a better collection pool, and also better, you can be able to manage those particular funds within the business. And also it separates business incomes from your own income, so that you can be able to differentiate that business and your personal funds. So that is basically more of the system, and as you have seen, we have really simplified the system so that it becomes easy to use even for guys who don't have so much accounting knowledge, so that they can be able to maneuver through the system. Even the employees within your organization can be able to maneuver through the system. And also something I've not talked about is maybe if you are creating an invoice which you would want to generate it in multi-currency, you can always be able to click that currency tab on and select the currency you want that particular invoice to go with. The invoice USD, you can always be able to input the USD, and it gives you the USD which the particular customer is supposed to be. So it is able to capture all that. So it is a very comprehensive system, easy to understand, and you can be able to tackle all your business needs within one system. If different branches, can be able to tackle all the branches under one system, generate reports under one system. So if you have maybe a particular question, you can just drop it on the chat box, and then let me check on the question which have been asked, and then we can be able to answer them. And also you can just go to the website myaccurateBook.com and create an account and also have a view of the, so this is the landing page of our system. So just type My Accurate Book and you can be able to create an account. And also we have it on the Play Store. When you go to Play Store, you can download My Accurate Book application. It has the same outlook and you can be able to navigate through, and it's also a web-based application. So whatever is done on the phone, it's what appears on the website. So it is that's why it is a live data. So whatever is happening in the shop, you can always be able to view it whenever you are. So I'll take some questions. So there is someone who is asking about the cost of my Accurate Books accounting software. So I'll just go to that particular tab and I can be able to show you that. So when you go to your profile and just go to upgrade. So we have two types of packages. We have the standard package and the gold package. So on the standard package, you can be able to get inventory management, invoicing and receipt, quotation, expense tracking, customer management, purchases, data, profit and loss reports, and all the other reports. And you can be able to manage up to 3 branches and have 6 use the system, and also ability to create a wallet that becomes your petty cash area to manage your petty cash funds. Then on the gold package, now it's where you'll be able to get all the accounting suite reports from the trial balance sheet, and also you'll be able to have more branches and also more users on the system, and also ability to create a wallet. So on the standard package, you'll not be able to have the accounting suite. It is only available on the gold package. And also we are working on other developments from bulk SMSs on the system. And also, as you can be able to see, those are some of the other, and also petty cash management, also are working on payroll management within the system. So those are some of the new developments we have, which are on the pipeline. So when we are done with them, we'll be able to push it on your end, and you can be able to enjoy a seamless business management. So maybe I take another question. Another question, maybe. So the system can be built on a monthly basis. So on a yearly basis, which is 5,500 and 9,000. So you can take a semi-annual plan, quarterly plan, and also a monthly plan. So on the monthly plan, it's 500 and 800 for the gold. Joseph, you had asked if it has a POS end. Yes, it does have a POS end. Miyako Victor, yes, it can be used for small circles. So you can just create an account, and then we usually provide virtual demos which are free, which takes around 10 minutes. We can be able just to give you an overview of the system, depending on the industry you are, so that when inputting your entries, it becomes more easy. So just create an account and reach us to our contacts, and then we can be able to schedule a free virtual demo which takes around 10 minutes, and then we can take you through the system. And now you'll be able to navigate through the system very easy, because as you have seen, it is easy to understand. So if you have any other question, you can reach out to us on zeros. Can reach us on 0116 333 000. And also, the moment you go to the website, you can always be able to request for a demo, and then we'll be able to reach out to you and also be able to schedule that virtual demo so that you can be able to understand the system better. Kenneth had asked about, can this be integrated to hospital system? Yes, we have a base of around 70 hospitals that are using the system. So it's something which is manageable on the system. So Mr. Kenneth, you can reach us out and then we can be able to show you how you can be able to incorporate it in your particular hospital. So don't forget to reach us on 0116 333 000, and then we can be able to expound more about the system and also set up your account for managing your business. Thank you. And if you have a question, just reach us out and then we'll be able to tackle it from this end. And also we thank Daktari for the good presentation on the eTIMS, which was very comprehensive.